You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done.
We're good. Thank goodness. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Biz-Souls. Finally, I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, and we get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen.
We had a couple of false starts because Jeffrey is just learning how to push buttons. That's why he got his master's in button pushing, so now he should be an expert at it. Anyway, I am where we're all playing from home today because my schedule is a little wacky. That being said, our other friend from home, Alex Fredricks, is our guest today. I'm going to read a little bit about him and the nifty stuff that he's doing, which I was just gobsmacked. Alex Fredricks is a growth strategist, founder and builder who scales brands, creates growth engines, and turns complex ideas into repeatable systems. Over the past 20 plus years, he's helped launch more than 50 products, contributed to over $500 million in revenue generation, and worked across technology, CPG, which I do not know what that is, we'll ask when I'm done, blockchain, luxury, wellness, and entertainment. He is the founder of Tonewell, a wellness intelligence platform designed to turn a 30-second voice note into clear next steps for better daily performance and well-being. His edge is seeing patterns early, translating vision into execution, and building momentum that lasts. That's just amazing. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you having me on today.
All right, question 1A before
Consumer
Jeffrey
packaged goods.
What is CPG?
Consumer packaged goods.
Got it. Thank you.
The stuff on your shelf that you bought as a consumer that was in a package.
Oh, pretty much everything.
And pretty much everything.
Look on my there.
Yeah.
There. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. All right, Jeffrey, go ahead. Ask the question.
I'm playing with the sound. We came in a little hot on that one. Alex, we always ask this question. So what'd you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a radio DJ. And then because I was like obsessed with Wolfman Jack as a kid.
Oh my God.
Right. And then somewhere along the line, I realized that went away when Arbitron happened. And so then I wanted to be a music producer. And then I realized that I didn't actually play anything. So that went the way of the dodo bird. And I went into the music business as an everything else other than those two things.
Yeah. What did Wolfman Jack sound like? Yeah, welcome to Wolfman Jack and welcome to the dark
that's
side.
Pretty much it. That's very good.
Right. That's exactly right.
Wasn't he in what movie was he in? American Dreams? Martin
Scorsese, American Graffiti.
Yes, American Graffiti. That's right. There we go.
So
I remember Hansler.
So how did you transition from the desire to be a DJ to consumer goods, and then now what you're doing?
So I started in the music business. I was fortunate enough to find a band in college and take them to the heights of their experience. But I started very early as a mix engineer. And at that time, I was using an oscilloscope to mix records. So you'd have a circle with a plus in it and an infinity symbol. And when the infinity symbol was out of phase, it was all fuzzy. You would start at the bottom of your frequency stack and work to your top until it was nice and clean. So in music for about 18 years, I realized I wasn't going to be the president of Columbia Records. True story. So I left and I went into the other side of the business, which is helping people do brand extension. You're already a somebody, but why don't you have a skincare, a cosmetic, a fragrance, and an appliance, whatever, fill in the blank. And I did that pretty successfully. For a good period of time. And then I was tapped to be the CMO of the first MP3 music server to the Middle East. And I lived in Bahrain for a couple of years, taking about 10 million tracks, 3.2 billion consumers over 32 plus markets. But it was all delivered natively on app via telecom. So you turn on your phone and it was there. And it was really beautiful, with one notable exception, is that we were the first people to try to do it. So the hardest equation was actually, how do you get a woman living under Sharia law to walk into a store, hand her phone to a man, and say, "Hey, can you help me get this to work?" And the answer was putting stickers on countertops, like really very simple stuff. And when that ended, unfortunately, because of Arab Spring, and I came home and went into the advertising business, I helped people move from the terrestrial into the digital space. So you already had a billboard in Times Square, but you could make $1 million a month on Facebook at the time with click-through advertising. The top 10 restaurants, that you had to click 110 times to get those top 10 restaurants. And that led me into things like blockchain and doing ICOs for cryptocurrencies, because my background was in large scale product, meaning like if you're a band and you're going to sell 1 million records, you have to understand SKU and distribution, where those go. 5 here, 20 there, 200 here, and how do they get off the shelf? So I just applied it forward. And when I left the advertising world in the late teens, I just became a problem solver for people. But by that time, I could pick the things I was interested in. And I was very interested in the wellness tech side of things, neurofeedback companies, red light companies, PEMF companies, because as you get older and you build expertise, you're allowed to say no to the things that just aren't interesting to you and say yes to the things that you want to do. And it's really how I just went along my journey, trying to find the solution set for the consumer that needed it. I mean, and that's essentially how I got into Tonewell. I had a client that was in PEMF. They were delivering frequency to people to help them with Lyme's disease and autoimmunes and things of that nature. And I was having a conversation with somebody, one of their science team, again, because I understood how to use an oscilloscope to make records. I understand frequency and signal path. And I said, "Hey, if you're going up the road, meaning you're delivering somebody something, why can't I come back down the road? Meaning you can, use an analytic from me." And they said, "Well, we can. People have been doing it for 30 years. There's all this research. We just don't do it." And I said, "Okay, but I can do it with you, right?" And they said, "Yeah, sure. If you can figure it out." Give me 2 years, I figured it out, and off to the races we went.
So just to clarify, so you developed Tonewell, and
So if I'm having like a real business conversation, I licensed technology and repositioned it for the opportunity with inside of the category. So the technology has nothing to do with Alex. I was a philosophy major. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist that way.
We should introduce you to Johnny Thompson. He's a philosophy guy.
I was a Campbell guy, like the thousand faces.
Joseph Campbell, sure.
Right,
sure.
yeah. So I recognize the opportunity, which is what most entrepreneurialism should be, right? It's like, okay, I see there's a hot, flat, and crowded, but there's this space that's missing. And in the world, I believe that we're drowning in data. Like, but you're still coming up short with the why don't I feel well? Why don't I function well? And then there's enough long-term diagnostic in the world, which is not a word that I actually use in Tonewell. We're an analytic. I help you build a better relationship with you. So what I did was I worked with a team of people that had a really robust technology that was going in one direction. And I said, "Well, we could also go over here with it, right?" And they said, "Yeah. How would you do that?" And that problem solution set is really frankly, it's what I've done my whole life. So you're a band in a basement. You want to get to Madison Square Garden. How do you do that? Well, you start at the notion where you want to be, and you work backwards, solving the problem until such time that all of the boxes of no have been eliminated, and there's one giant box of yes.
Fantastic.
Which is what good marketers should do, right?
Yeah, so there's the opportunity in life to sit around and cry, or there's the opportunity in life to pick yourself up and figure out why it didn't work and what could work. And I've just always been the second person. I'm like, I'm a born and raised New York City kid, Generation X, latchkey kid. I truly believe no one's coming to save you. And that's not a bad thing. That's like a just get up and go do it thing. And it's just how I am personally wired. So when I had a chocolate and peanut butter moment, what I mean is like I saw this and I saw this, and if I could smash them together, I had something. And it was just problem solution set, because the technology was developed and we as a company could then figure out how to talk to an audience and deliver something totally frictionless. It's in your phone. and something non-invasive, no blood, no urine, no hair, no swab, and it's immediate. So 30 seconds of voice, 25 seconds of processing, about another minute and a half of automated workflow. In your email, you get a report that tells you what's going on with you, not what's wrong with you. Please go get blood. Please go get urine. But what's
Right.
going on with you? I'm deficient in X. I can't sleep. Well, maybe it's because your GABA receptor's off. Maybe your magnesium's low. I have bad digestion. Maybe take a probiotic. Maybe scrape your tongue. All of these things are an opportunity. And the thing about voice, which is actually really important here, is that when you speak, you reflect your nervous system and your physiology and how it's operating at all time. And what we do is we extract the acoustic and the temporal features within inside of 30 seconds, and then we analyze that against a static database that is well established of about 100,000 plus things, and then we extrapolate about 1,000 biomarkers. So I can tell you, and we can tell you as a company, everything that's going on in your minerals, your vitamins, your fascia, your musculature, and it's really Buck Rogers in that way. Like it's cool, but
It's
it's
so cool.
but it's already been doing it. Like, how do you think an MRI or a CAT scan or a CT scan or your neurofeedback works? It's reading the frequency and the electricity, and that's what we're doing with voice.
So I looked up a couple of the articles, and most of them, the references go back. Most of them are fairly recent. Now, when you write a technical article or a research article, you want to pick recent stuff. When did this start, though? Because it went back. The articles, the oldest reference I saw was 2001.
So I could make an argument that Wilhelm Reich was doing this back in the 20s and 30s, and his orgon accumulator, and he actually mapped out a pretty impressive Hertz scale and how it applies to the human physiology. You could make an argument that this is actually what Tesla was doing. It depends upon how you want to engage in the conversation, right? So in the world of big medicine, which I'm not, I'm medical adjacent. There are studies from like the Annals of Family Medicine that are 20 years old, or from the AHA journals that are about 20 years old, because some of it comes down to like the tool set, not the understanding. So right now we're having this conversation. I'm on a wireless laptop speaking into a mic that doesn't actually have a driver in it. It's connected to the computer. It's happening in real time. I'm promising you that the three of us grew up with phones connected to a wall with copper wire, right? So what is the tool set? Not what we were still speaking through phones, right? So not until I got to hear there's only two microphone companies in all of phones that are used, and their standard of microphone is as good as the Shure microphone or the Sennheiser microphone that was professionally grade 20 years ago. So some of this comes down to a tool set, not an understanding, right?
Right.
So
Got it. And I'm assuming that your biggest competitor for Tonewell, if you think of a competitor, are the wearables, the rings, the watches, and things like that. Is that a good assumption or a bad assumption?
So I actually say the only competition is the person that doesn't want to know who they are. Here's the thing about a wearable to me. A wearable is an output device, and they're super valuable. But if I was a runner in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, I had a thing called a journal, and I wrote everything down, including when I had to stop at a stoplight. I did this and I checked my HRV, and I knew exactly what I ate and exactly how far I ran and what my time was. And then at the end of the day, I had to journal that. And then at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the quarter, start bottom, and I would get my averages. And that's what a ring or a whoop is doing. Now, I will also tell you that they're not giving you answers. They're giving you what's wrong with you. You didn't sleep last night, not how you can sleep better. So we're more about input. I believe input manages output, like your intention and attention when they're aligned gets opportunity. So I say that to say they're not a competition. They're just another tool in the tool belt. If I'm a screwdriver and they're a hammer, my dog thoroughly disagrees with me. If I'm a screwdriver and they're a hammer, we both have places in the thing that you are building. So if you're in your wellness stack measuring all of the other things, then you might want to get an understanding of what's happening with inside of you so that you can change the output. Otherwise, you're just measuring the outcome of something, but you're not correcting why. So, like I said, sleep. Maybe it's a magnesium glycinate. Not a very difficult thing to do. You could go to CVS, you could find the greatest bespoke version of it, but unless you know it's magnesium glycinate and not magnesium malate or the other magnesiums, what are you going to do about it? And that really, for me, is the opportunity set. Like, I also understand that wearables are an infrastructure company. I'm not an infrastructure company. I'm trying to give you actionable answers that help you build your relationship with yourself, not Rona's with hers. And that's, we just differ that way. Yeah,
So
and
what I'm hearing is you're proactive. Your company's proactive. This is what you can do.
yes.
The other ones are, this is what is.
So, like, my feeling on a lot of these things is that like information is not knowledge and knowledge is definitely not wisdom, right? So like data is just data, it's just data, it's just data. Unless it's actionable, then I just have all of this data. So what we do is we take a look at what's going on, we analyze it. And you can attest to this, our reports are what I call Crayola crayon, right? So I'll give you a top five. They are color coded: green, yellow, red. Green, good. I always lead with green. It's important that you set a standard with somebody. This is good for you. Congratulations. And then here's the yellow. These are the things that should be on your radar. You should be aware of them. And here is red. Full stop. Right? These are the things that you are going to deal with so that your sleep, hydration, stress, pathogens, toxins, digestion, we have 8 buckets, right? And then from there, we give you a 1 day, a 3 day, and a 10 day solution. That's it. If you can start working on these things and I can help you feel better, the thing that you can't actually ever argue with somebody, how they feel, you can just try to change what's going on so that they have a better feeling. So if I can help you feel better, get more sleep, be less inflamed, have better digestion, then you can make the choices. Like the little choices make the habits make your life, right? And that's where we come in. I have no problem with wearables. I believe in Western medicine. Please go get your blood and your urine drawn and all of these things. But recognize that when you get your blood drawn, by the time the doctor has called you 10 days later, your blood is so different that they have to give you a broad diagnostic. They cannot tell you what to literally do today. They can tell you what the treatment or protocol might be for what they see. And what we do is we help you make the little choices today, right? Like, how do I just feel better? How do I function better? How do I get rid of XYZ or feel better PDQ? And that's, I just think that competition is only what your goal set is, and it's not necessarily like hot, flat, and crowded's great. It really is. It means that there are people on the playing field,
Right.
So,
right?
okay, so what is it about vocal tonality that allows you to see I mean, you guys really get in the weeds just from a 30-second conversation.
So there are a couple things that are relatively important. I will start with the most esoteric, which is in the beginning there was the word. So legitimately everything was spoken into creation. So you should recognize the power that comes out of you. And then I'll bring it back down to where we are. So this resonator, the dobro of your chest, the resonator of your chest, and the vagus nerve that's sitting right here also has your nervous system, spinal cord sitting right behind it. So what's coming out of you here is the purest tone of what you are. So we look at a couple things. Now, I will say that we outline outliers. That's the fastest answer for most things. So if Jeff walked in and the Biz-Souls sign behind him wasn't there, he would say, "What happened to my sign?" So what we're really doing is showing where things aren't, they're deviant from where they should be. And
Gotcha.
that's trackable based on a bunch of things. Um, obviously, like I said, the acoustic, the temporal, but legitimately the hertz. So what is the hertz? Put on tonal music. 432 is great. 1111 is great. We meditate to them. Those are hertz frequencies. And the reason that they work is because they align with your chakras and they open up the gates. But if you've ever put on a good piece of music and the hair stands up, that's resonant factor. Something is physically doing this to make this stand up. So you can track that backwards, and that's really what we're doing. We're looking at the bandwidth of the wavelength, where it peaks and crests. Here's a 0 point, top and bottom, and then we're overlaying that against, as I said, 100,000 points of data that say, okay, this should be here, but it's skewed a little bit. Well, what does that relate to? Maybe that's your kidney, maybe that's your muscle, maybe that's your B2, maybe it's an iron, what have you. And then from there, that large output, we then run into our translation layer that says, okay, this is what it correlates to, and this is how we can, make the relationship. Now, I will say, because it's very important, voice changes. Go get angry at somebody, your voice changes. Go have 5 cups of coffee, your voice changes. Go have a Red Bull and run 5 blocks, your voice changes. So it's not the most perfect, just like blood isn't the most perfect. Go have a bunch of bananas, go get your blood drawn. Go drink a glass of vinegar, go have your urine taken. So it's all a matter of your understanding of what it is that you want to see from yourself.
Well,
Yeah,
you had me do it first thing in the morning. Sorry, Jeffrey. Right?
Yes, because you haven't. I say to most people when they're just coming into Tonewell, they say, when should I do it? My standard answer is either first thing in the morning or last thing at night. So either when you have a baseline and you haven't taken your vitamins or your coffee or your food or whatever, so you know where you are, or at the end of the day when you've burned the candle on both ends, you've had a million phone calls, you've run so now you know exactly what's tipping the outside, right? And then you can begin to pattern with yourself because most people say, well, how do I get a baseline? Well, you do it at the exact same
Okay.
time. 7 a.m. is 7 a.m., right? And
yeah, and you answered my question because I was going to ask because Robin Williams voices voice actors. You can speak in your chest or you can speak through your nasal passage real high, and that would change it. And I thought, yeah, it's probably just like their tests you take with your blood. They tell you don't eat, don't do this,
right.
otherwise it's going to affect it. And you already answered the question on it.
And I will say to people, you can always lie to yourself. You don't need me
Right.
to tell you that.
Right.
Right. So if you want to send me a Donald Duck voice, that's on
Right.
you. Like
Right.
that. If you really don't want to know who you are, that's on you. Right. So those opportunities in how to build a better relationship, how to be healthier, how to start making the little
Right.
changes that you want. Like it's about empowering people. Like that's why I don't use the word
Right.
diagnostic. Well, first off, not a doctor, but secondly, more importantly, it's not my job to tell you what's wrong.
Right.
Right.
My job to kind of try to help you feel better, be better, make better choices.
Yeah.
So how do people get to do this? How do they get in touch with you and
Well,
all that nifty stuff?
so tonewell.co is how you engage with us. What happens is you go on, you buy your scan, you fill out, I only ask 4 questions, first name, last name, email, phone number. That's it. From there, you'll get an SMS message in your phone. You click the SMS, it takes you up to a cloud. You record your 30 seconds. As I said, 25 seconds to analyze it. And in about 5 minutes, you'll get an email from us that has an infograph and our report. Our report's about 7 to 9 pages because, one, we like to reiterate things. I'll say it to you a couple different ways. You never know what's going to stick with someone. And then we give you a basic plan. Only over the counter. What I mean by that is like, you can do this. There's nothing special. It's just informational and actionable. And that's how you can work with Tonewell. Me, I am the only OCD I have is I have no unread emails, texts, DMs. Like it drives me crazy. I'm super easy to find. I'm Alex at tonewell.co. I happen to fortunately be doing this long enough that I'm the only Alex Fredricks that I can Google because I'm top of the page, right? So you can find me anyway. And because we are a startup, like I'm literally just in my seed round and raising capital, all that stuff. I am proud to say there are no unanswered emails in our company. And I always reply to somebody. So we have a couple pro athletes that we work with and, athletes in general. And I send them the raw data so they can share it with their trainers. Because I do have an enterprise side working with practitioners in corporate wellness and telemedicine. So I'm happy to give you the data. There's no gatekeeping in this that's necessary. But if I just sent you the data, you'd have no idea what to do with it. So we send the people the report, and we've had a couple of people write back, hey, this is great, but I want to know about my XYZ. Could you send me? Here you go. There's no informational gatekeeping that way.
Outstanding.
Fascinating.
Outstanding.
This has been awesome. Jeffrey, do you have any other questions before?
No. What is something that would keep somebody from getting started with this? I guess that'd be my just
not wanting to make the difference in their life. Okay. So I argue this because I've done a lot of coaching and development for people. I hate the expression "fake it till you make it." I like the expression "if you can see it, you can be it." So I think that right there is the chasm that most people have. They like faking their way through life because that's good enough for them. Right. I'm not that person. So the only reason that you shouldn't do this is if you actually don't want to start making the steps
right
to changing your life. Other than that, it's, again, non-invasive. I don't want your blood. I definitely don't want your urine. And it's frictionless. It's in your phone. You don't have to do anything. It's literally right here. Like, how much time do you waste scrolling? Right. Take 30 seconds of your time and start getting some answers.
Yeah. Right. I have some contacts at Cone Health. So JB, if you're listening, I'm going to send this stuff to you. I just think, by the way,
I have a at least 18-page science document. If anybody actually wants to read, hit me up. I'll happily send you our science, our white papers, what we've based this on, how it works, why it works. Don't trust me. Again, I have business partners that are doctors, by the way. You don't have to trust me. I just happen to speak well. We can prove everything that we are.
Nice.
Excellent.
Which
Outstanding.
is, important when something's so new. What were you going to say, Jeffrey?
No, I just said outstanding. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on podcasts. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. I just speak my truth, which is everybody's not.
There you go. Well, I am so glad that we were able to make this happen, because I just think it's fantastic, the depth, and I haven't even gone because of my computer issues. So thanks for sending my report. Now I'm going to go through it, and I'll look like I'm 25 the next time we have you on the podcast.
You already do look like you're 25. I don't know.
Oh, good answer. I will send you $1. All
right.
That is it. On that high note, that is it for us. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
And this has been Biz-Souls. Alex, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We'll see you kids next time.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.